Hey everybody, Zee Garcia here, and today we're going to go fishing, all of us sharing the same boat, but trying to get the juiciest fish and points for ourselves in this game, Tonari. This game is a new implementation or reworking, reimagining, inspired by, if you would. This is based on this game right here, Veleno, which is a game from the late 80s from designer Alex Randolph. Well, this is from Bruno Faidutti, with credit also to Alex Randolph because of the original game, and it uses some of the same mechanisms, but it has a new theme. It has a theme. The original one was really abstract, and it's changed a couple of things in it. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this. Just be aware, I am going to do a standalone video comparing these two different versions of sort of the same idea. But go check that out if you want to, me to give you more thoughts on what the two look like side by side and just sort of what I think of them. For right now, let's go ahead and dive into this game, and then I'll see you on the other side for some final thoughts. Here we're going to be taking a look at the game for two players. We randomize all the tokens on the board. We pick a star player, that'll be me, and the other player is going to decide where they put the ship here. They can start on either one of these two spots. So they're going to go ahead and put the ship in that spot there, and then I begin the game. On my turn, what I'm going to do is move the ship to an adjacent spot and take the token that is in that spot. So for example, on my turn, I might move the ship there and take that token, put that in front of myself, and then it is my opponent's turn. And they are going to keep taking turns, the players, back and forth until the ship can no longer move. At that point, we are going to score the game. So my opponents might take that token. They'll put that in front of themselves. We move the ship. Comes back to me. I might go to this spot and take that. Put that in front of myself, and so on. And that's basically the flow of the game. So it's all about how these things out here score and what they do. So there are a few different kinds of fish. Let's move this up just a bit. That are going to score the same way, and that's these four here. The way they are going to score is, if you have a single one of this kind, you're going to get 1 point for it. For the next one, you get 2 points, so both of them together would be 3. For the next one, you get 3 points, so that grouping would be worth 6, and so on. And again, that's the same for all of those. There are these tokens, which are garbage you are bringing up from the bottom of the ocean, and those are worth -5 points. So -5, you definitely don't want those. You've also got these tokens. There are 7 of these. And at the end, whoever has the most of these shrimp tokens simply gets a flat 8 victory points. So if you control the shrimp, you get 8 points, no matter how many of those you've got. And then you've also got these here. The pink tokens are going to be worth 5 victory points by themselves, but for you to grab one of these, you must be able to move the ship exactly 2 spaces through an empty space and land on one of those, and then you can take it. So again, the game's going to be over either when the ship is fully isolated, like so, and also there is not one of these 2 spaces away, because if that's what the game looks like, a player could still move the ship here and take that token, and then we would continue from there. So only in this situation, or say that situation, then the game can no longer continue. So that's the scoring for those. Besides that, we've got a few special tokens that are going to do, unique powers. So let's pull those down here, and I'll explain what it is they do. So this one here, when you take that, you simply remove another token from the board, and then you can get rid of that. This one lets you switch 2 tokens between the players. But there's a couple of exceptions that you cannot switch between the players. Or rather, this one is the one that lets you switch 2 fish between the players. And then, there are exceptions. This one actually lets you switch 2 tokens on the board. Move 2 around. And then this one, when taken, let's say I have this in front of myself. And that's what my display looks like. When I take this token, I'm going to assign it to one of these kinds of fish, and at the end of the game, the scoring for that kind is going to be doubled for all of the players. So both players, in this case, For that, instead of scoring 3 points for that group, I would get 6. But my opponent will do the same thing with their red fish. Or I could assign it to one of the other kinds if I think that's more advantageous for me. And that's basically it. As I said, that is the score and the game for 2 players. Whoever has the highest score is the winner. If you're playing with multiple players, be it 3 or 4, it's all going to play out the same way, but at the end of the game, your score is actually how many points you've got plus the score of the player to your right. And then their score would be their own score at the end of the game plus the player to their left, rather, not their right. So my score is mine plus this player's. Theirs is their own score plus that player's. And that player is their score plus mine. Make sense? Yeah, kind of. So there you go. That's how that works. Meaning, ultimately, that you want to help the player to your right. You want to leave them in a good situation most of the time. But that only works out if the player after them is doing worse than you yourself are doing. So there you go. So that's the game. Let's go back up top. Let me tell you what I think of it. And so that is Tonari. Let's go ahead and dive right into this one, shall we? Overall, I really like the game. And I think, honestly, it's a superb re-implementation of the original game. It has a theme now. It's got a few more tiles or spaces to take. It's got a little more going on. And overall, it makes it a stronger package, in my opinion. So here is I'll start with the one thing I thought was a little weaker overall, and this holds true from the original game. That is replayability, and not because of the variety in the game, because I do think the randomization of the setup gives you a different play feel each time you play, but the game, in my opinion, does not scale well. I just don't like the idea of playing with 3 or 4 players. The 2-player game, stellar. I really enjoyed. 3 and 4 has that quirky score your score plus the neighbor's score together, and I just don't find that as captivating. It sounds better than the way it plays out. Again, in my opinion, the original one is a classic. It's a clever idea, so that's take that with a grain of salt. So replayability gets a ding from me. Everything else I really do enjoy. The theme here, it's still basically an abstract, but there is a theme now, and the theme that is there, I think, works really well. I like the way this was implemented into the game, retrofitted onto a concept that was very much abstracted. The aesthetics in this one are excellent. The chips are nice plastic tokens. They're well printed. Everything looks good. Everything feels like it's going to last. Box has an excellent insert as well. So the whole thing, I think, is a really well thought out production. So kudos to the company for that. Game length. It's a quick game. It never feels like it outstays its welcome. The turns are thoughtful and meaningful. Sometimes the game can be a little bit shorter, a little bit longer, depending on where that ship goes. If you end up pushing it towards a side of the board that's already half empty and you end up with no movements, it'll be a little shorter, but it never outstays its welcome. The ease of play. It's definitely not as easy as the original game because that one had no funky powers, right? None of this switch 2 pieces, cancel a piece, move something. It doesn't have any of that. But I have to say, I think Faidutti, the designer, the new designer, showed a lot of restraint here with where these kooky powers could have gone. I know that as a designer, he enjoys that sort of idea, adding power, event cards and powers and things like that. I think what is there is solid and tactical and interesting. So I really do like that. And then lastly, tactics and strategy. It's got the same feel as the original game while giving me new things to think about, more interest, a captivating theme. It's just more engaging overall while, again, retaining the tactics of strategy, the reacting to what's going on, where you want to leave that ship for the next player, and so on. So overall, I really like this one. I think it's a great game. Bottom line, it's an excellent reimplementation of a classic that is still a strange multiplayer game, in my opinion, but now has the theme and the looks to match. This is going to get an 8 out of 10 from me. Really like it. And therefore, it gets a seal of approval. So there you go. That is Tonari. Again, seal of approval from me. I certainly enjoyed it. If you're looking for a solid 2-player abstract-ish game with fun, clever concepts at play, this is a very good choice. So that's it for me. I'm Zee Garcia, everybody. Thanks for checking this out. I'll see you on the next one.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com.